Chapters 5 through 8 of the Book of Daniel, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Holy Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. Daniel, chapters 5 through 8. Chapter 5. Belshazzar the king hath made a great feast to 1,000 of his great men, and before the 1,000 he is drinking wine. Belshazzar hath said, while tasting the wine, to bring in the vessels of gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken from the temple that is in Jerusalem, that drink with them may the king, and his great men, his wives, and his concubines. Then they have brought in the vessels of gold that had been taken out of the temple of the house of God that is in Jerusalem, and drunk with them have the king and his great men, his wives, and his concubines. They have drunk wine, and have praised the gods of gold, and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In that hour come forth have fingers of a man's hand, and they are writing over against the candlestick, on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace, and the king is seeing the extremity of the hand that is writing. Then the king's countenance hath changed, and his thoughts do trouble him, and the joints of his loins are loosed, and his knees are smiting one against another. Call doth the king mightily to bring up the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. Answered hath the king, and said to the wise men of Babylon that, Any man who doth read this writing, and its interpretation, doth shew me, purple he putteth on, and a bracelet of gold is on his neck, and third in the kingdom he doth rule. Then coming up are all the wise men of the king, and they are not able to read the writing, and the interpretation to make known to the king. Then the king Belshazzar is greatly troubled, and his countenance is changing in him, and his great men are perplexed. The queen, on account of the words of the king and his great men, to the banquet house hath come up. Answered hath the queen, and said, O king, to the ages live. Let not thy thoughts trouble thee, nor thy countenance be changed. There is a man in thy kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And in the days of thy father light and understanding and wisdom, as the wisdom of the gods, was found in him. And King Nebuchadnezzar thy father, chief of the scribes, enchanters, Chaldeans, soothsayers, established him, thy father, O king, because that an excellent spirit, and knowledge, and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of enigmas, and loosing of knots was found in him, in Daniel, whose name the king made Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and the interpretation he doth show. Then Daniel hath been caused to come up before the king. Answered hath the king, and said to Daniel, Thou art that Daniel, who art of the sons of the removed of Judah, whom the king my father brought in of Judah? And I have heard of thee, that the spirit of the gods is in thee, and light and understanding and excellent wisdom have been found in thee. And now caused to come up before me have been the wise men, the enchanters, that this writing they may read, and its interpretation to cause me to know, and they are not able to shew the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of thee, that thou art able to give interpretations, and to loose knots. Now, lo, thou art able to read the writing, and its interpretation to cause me to know. Purple thou dost put on, and a bracelet of gold is on thy neck, and third in the kingdom thou dost rule. Then hath Daniel answered and said before the king, Thy gifts be to thyself, and thy fee to another give. Nevertheless the writing I do read to the king, and the interpretation I cause him to know. Thou, O king, God most high, a kingdom, and greatness, and glory, and honor, gave to Nebuchadnezzar thy father. And because of the greatness that he gave to him, all peoples, nations, and languages were trembling and fearing before him. Whom he willed he was slaying, and whom he willed he was keeping alive, and whom he willed he was raising up, and whom he willed he was making low. And when his heart was high, and his spirit was strong to act proudly, he hath been caused to come down from the throne of his kingdom, and his glory they have caused to pass away from him. And from the sons of men he is driven, and his heart with the beasts hath been like, and with the wild asses is his dwelling. The herb like oxen they cause him to eat, and by the dew of the heavens is his body wet, till that he hath known that God most high is ruler in the kingdom of men, and whom he willeth he raiseth up over it. And thou, his son Belshazzar, hast not humbled thy heart, though all this thou hast known. And against the Lord of the heavens thou hast lifted up thyself, and the vessels of his house they have brought in before thee, and thou and thy great men, thy wives and thy concubines, are drinking wine with them, and gods of silver and of gold, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone, that are not seeing, nor hearing, nor knowing, thou hast praised. And the God in whose hand is thy breath, and all thy ways, him thou hast not honored. Then from before him sent is the extremity of the hand, and the writing is noted down. And this is the writing that is noted down: numbered, numbered, weighed, and divided. This is the interpretation of the thing. Numbered, God hath numbered thy kingdom, and hath finished it. Weighed, thou art weighed in the balances, and hast been found lacking. Divided, divided is thy kingdom, and it hath been given to the Medes and Persians. Then hath Belshazzar said, and they have clothed Daniel with purple, and a bracelet of gold is on his neck. And they have proclaimed concerning him that he is the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night Belshazzar king of the Chaldeans is slain, and Darius the Mede hath received the kingdom, when a son of 62 years. Chapter 6. It hath been good before Darius, and he hath established over the kingdom satraps 120, that they may be throughout the whole kingdom, and higher than they 3 presidents, of whom Daniel is first, that these satraps may give to him an account, and the king have no loss. Then this Daniel hath been overseer over the presidents and satraps, because that an excellent spirit is in him, and the king hath thought to establish him over the whole kingdom. Then the presidents and satraps have been seeking to find a cause of complaint against Daniel concerning the kingdom, and any cause of complaint and corruption they are not able to find, because that he is faithful, and any error and corruption have not been found in him. Then these men are saying, we do not find against this Daniel any cause of complaint, except we have found it against him in the law of his God. Then these presidents and satraps have assembled near the king, and thus they are saying to him, O King Darius, to the ages live! Take in counsel, have all the presidents of the kingdom, the prefects and the satraps, the counselors and the governors, to establish a royal statute, and to strengthen an interdict, that any who seeketh a petition from any god and man until 30 days, save of thee, O king, is cast into a den of lions. Now, O king, thou dost establish the interdict, and sign the writing, that it is not to be changed, as a law of Media and Persia, that doth not pass away. Therefore King Darius hath signed the writing and interdict. And Daniel, when he hath known that the writing is signed, hath gone up to his house, and the window being opened for him, in his upper chamber, over against Jerusalem, 3 times in a day he is kneeling on his knees, and praying, and confessing before his God, because that he was doing it before this. Then these men have assembled, and found Daniel praying and entreating grace before his God. Then they have come near, yea, they are saying before the king concerning the king's interdict, Hast thou not signed an interdict, that any man who seeketh from any god and man until 30 days, save of thee, O king, is cast into a den of lions? Answered hath the king and said, The thing is certain as a law of Media and Persia, that doth not pass away. Then they have answered, yea, they are saying before the king that Daniel, who is of the sons of the removed of Judah, hath not placed on thee, O king, any regard, nor on the interdict that thou hast signed, and 3 times in a day he is seeking his petition. Then the king, when he hath heard the matter, is greatly displeased at himself, And on Daniel he hath set the heart to deliver him. And till the going up of the sun he was arranging to deliver him. Then these men have assembled near the king, and are saying to the king, Know, O king, that the law of Media and Persia is, that any interdict and statute that the king doth establish is not to be changed. Then the king hath said, and they have brought Daniel, and have cast him into a den of lions. The king hath answered and said to Daniel, Thy God, whom thou art serving continually, himself doth deliver thee. And a stone hath been brought and placed at the mouth of the den. And the king hath sealed it with his signet, and with the signet of his great men, that the purpose be not changed concerning Daniel. Then hath the king gone to his palace, and he hath passed the night fasting, and Dahavan hath not been brought up before him, and his sleep hath fled from off him. Then doth the king rise in the early morning, at the light, and in haste to the den of lions he hath gone. And at his coming near to the den, to Daniel, with a grieved voice he crieth. The king hath answered and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, thy God, whom thou art serving continually, is he able to deliver thee from the lions? Then Daniel hath spoken with the king. O king, to the ages live! My God hath sent his messenger, and hath shut the lions' mouths, and they have not injured me, because that before him purity hath been found in me, and also before thee, O king, injury I have not done. Then was the king very glad for him, and he hath commanded Daniel to be taken up out of the den. And Daniel hath been taken up out of the den, and no injury hath been found in him, because he hath believed in his God. And the king hath said, and they have brought those men who had accused Daniel, and to the den of lions they have cast them, they, their sons, and their wives. And they have not come to the lower part of the den, till that the lions have power over them, and all their bones they have broken small. Then Darius the king hath written to all the peoples, nations, and languages, who are dwelling in all the land. Your peace be great. From before me is made a decree, that in every dominion of my kingdom they are trembling and fearing before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and abiding to the ages, and his kingdom that which is not destroyed, and his dominion is unto the end. A deliverer, and rescuer, and doer of signs and wonders in the heavens and in earth is he who hath delivered Daniel from the paw of the lions. And this Daniel hath prospered in the reign of Darius, and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar king of Babylon, Daniel hath seen a dream, and the visions of his head on his bed. Then the dream he hath written, the chief of the things he hath said. Answered hath Daniel, and said, I was seeing in my vision by night, and lo, the four winds of the heavens are coming forth to the great sea, and four great beasts are coming up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first is like a lion, and it hath an eagle's wings. I was seeing till that its wings have been plucked, and it hath been lifted up from the earth. And on feet as a man it hath been caused to stand, and a heart of man is given to it. And lo, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and to the same authority it hath been raised. And 3 ribs are in its mouth, between its teeth, and thus they are saying to it, Rise, consume much flesh. After this I was seeing, and lo, another like a leopard, and it hath 4 wings of a fowl on its back, and 4 heads hath the beast, and dominion is given to it. After this I was seeing in the visions of the night, and lo, a 4th beast, terrible and fearful, and exceedingly strong, and it hath iron teeth, very great, it hath consumed, yea, it doth break small, and the remnant with its feet it hath trampled. And it is diverse from all the beasts that are before it, and it hath 10 horns. I was considering about the horns, and lo, another horn, a little one, hath come up between them, and 3 of the first horns have been eradicated from before it. And lo, eyes as the eyes of man are in this horn, and a mouth speaking great things. I was seeing till that thrones have been thrown down, and the Ancient of Days is seated. His garment as snow is white, and the hair of his head is as pure wool. His throne flames of fire, its wheels burning fire. A flood of fire is proceeding and coming forth from before him. 1,000 thousands do serve him, and a myriad of myriads before him do rise up. The Judge is seated, and the books have been opened. I was seeing then, because of the voice of the great words that the horn is speaking, I was seeing till that the beast is slain, and his body hath been destroyed, and given to the burning fire. And the rest of the beasts have caused their dominion to pass away, and a prolongation in life is given to them, till a season and a time. I was seeing in the visions of the night, and lo, with the clouds of the heavens as a Son of Man was one coming, and unto the Ancient of Days he hath come, and before him they have brought him near. And to him is given dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, and all peoples, nations, and languages do serve him. His dominion is a dominion age-during, that passeth not away, and his kingdom that which is not destroyed. Pierced hath been my spirit, I, Daniel, in the midst of the sheath, and the visions of my head trouble me. I have drawn near unto one of those standing, and the certainty I seek from him of all of this. And he hath said to me, Yea, the interpretation of the things he hath caused me to know. These great beasts that are four kings. They rise up from the earth, and receive the kingdom do the saints of the Most High. And they strengthen the kingdom unto the age, even unto the age of the ages. Then I wished for certainty concerning the fourth beast, that was diverse from them all, fearful exceedingly. Its teeth of iron, and its nails of brass it hath devoured, it doth break small, and the remnant with its feet it hath trampled. And concerning the 10 horns that are in its heads, and of the other that came up, and before which 3 have fallen, even of that horn that hath eyes, and a mouth speaking great things, and whose appearance is great above its companions, I was seeing. And this horn is making war with the saints, and hath prevailed over them, till that the Ancient of Days hath come. And judgment is given to the saints of the Most High, and the time hath come, and the saints have strengthened the kingdom. Thus he said, The fourth beast is the fourth kingdom in the earth, that is diverse from all kingdoms, and it consumeth all the earth, and treadeth it down, and breaketh it small. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings. They rise, and another doth rise after them. And it is diverse from the former, and 3 kings it humbleth. And words as an adversary of the Most High it doth speak, and the saints of the Most High it doth wear out. And it hopeth to change seasons and law, and they are given into its hand, till a time, and times, and a division of a time. And the Judge is seated, and its dominion they cause to pass away, to cut off, and to destroy, unto the end. And the kingdom and the dominion, even the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heavens, is given to the people, the saints of the Most High. His kingdom is a kingdom age-during, and all dominions do serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. I, Daniel, greatly do my thoughts trouble me, and my countenance is changed on me, and the matter in my heart I have kept. Chapter 8. In the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar the king, a vision hath appeared unto me, I, Daniel, after that which had appeared unto me at the beginning. And I see in a vision, and it cometh to pass in my seeing, and I am in Shushan, the palace that is in Elam the province. And I see in a vision, and I have been by the stream Ulai. And I lift up mine eyes and look, and lo, a certain ram is standing before the stream, and it hath 2 horns. And the 2 horns are high, and the one is higher than the other, and the high one is coming up last. I have seen the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, and no living creatures do stand before it, and there is none delivering out of its hand, and it hath done according to its pleasure, and hath exerted itself. And I have been considering, and lo, a young he-goat hath come from the west, over the face of the whole earth, whom none is touching in the earth. As to the young he-goat, a conspicuous horn is between its eyes. And it cometh unto the ram possessing the 2 horns, that I had seen standing before the stream, and runneth unto it in the fury of its power. And I have seen it coming near the ram, and it becometh embittered at it, and smiteth the ram, and breaketh its 2 horns, and there hath been no power in the ram to stand before it. And it casteth it to the earth, and trampleth it down, and there hath been no deliverer to the ram out of its power. And the young he-goat hath exerted itself very much, and when it is strong, broken hath been the great horn, and come up doth a vision of 4 in its place, at the 4 winds of the heavens. And from the one of them come forth hath a little horn, and it exerteth itself greatly toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the beauteous land. Yea, it exerteth unto the host of the heavens, and causeth to fall to the earth of the host, and of the stars, and trampleth them down. And unto the prince of the host it exerteth itself, and by it taken away hath been the continual sacrifice, and thrown down the base of his sanctuary. And the host is given up, with the continual sacrifice, through transgression. And it throweth down truth to the earth, and it hath worked and prospered. And I hear a certain Holy One speaking. And a certain Holy One saith to the wonderful numberer who is speaking, Till when is the vision of the continual sacrifice, and of the transgression, an astonishment, to make both sanctuary and host a treading down? And he saith unto me, Till evening, morning 2300, then is the holy place declared right. And it cometh to pass in my seeing, I Daniel, the vision, that I require understanding. And lo, standing over against me is as the appearance of a mighty one. And I hear a voice of man between the banks of Ulai, and he calleth and saith, Gabriel, cause this one to understand the appearance. And he cometh in near my station. And at his coming in I have been afraid, and I fall on my face. And he saith unto me, Understand, Son of man, for at the time of the end is the vision. And in his speaking with me, I have been in a trance on my face, on the earth. And he cometh against me, and causeth me to stand on my station, and saith, Lo, I am causing thee to know that which is in the latter end of the indignation, for at the appointed time is the end. The ram that thou hast seen possessing 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the young he-goat, the hairy one, is the king of Javan, and the great horn that is between its eyes is the first king. And that being broken, stand up do 4 in its place. 4 kingdoms from the nation do stand up, and not in its power. And in the latter end of their kingdom, about the perfecting of the transgressors, stand up doth a king, fierce of face, and understanding hidden things. And his power hath been mighty, and not by his own power, and wonderful things he destroyeth. And he hath prospered, and wrought, and destroyed mighty ones, and the people of the holy ones. And by his understanding he hath also caused deceit to prosper in his hand, and in his heart he exerteth himself. And by ease he destroyeth many, and against the prince of princes he standeth, and without hand he is broken. And the appearance of the evening and of the morning that is told is true. And thou, hide thou the vision, for it is after many days. And I, Daniel, have been, yea, I became sick for days, and I rise and do the king's work, and am astonished at the appearance, and there is none understanding. End of the book of Daniel, chapters 5 through 8. Recording by Mark Penfold.